begin our practice. Just a second here so that the YouTube folks can catch up with us. So now I'll share a little bit about who is Mary Stancavage. Can you hear me? Okay. Because Mary's already making the faces. Uh, so Mary has been practicing meditation and yoga for over 35 years and been teaching the Buddha Dharma. She began teaching the Buddha Dharma in 2009. Based in Los Angeles, she leads classes, leads retreats. She also offers individual mentoring both locally and internationally. Mary's taught mindfulness in recovery settings. She's co-facilitated Gear to Live groups since 2008 and has been offering a weekly Dharma class for over a decade. So, giving thanks to you for doing that, as well as a daily morning meditation group since 2020. She serves on the Guiding Teachers Council at Inside Community of the Desert and is a founding teacher of the Meditation Coalition, a graduate of the Sati Center Buddhist chaplaincy program. She's also served as a volunteer chaplain and nonprofit leader. Mary continues to explore what it means to live with an undefended heart, and I hope that she shares a little bit about that. And without further ado, I give you Mary.
Thank you so much, Deshawn. What a delight to be with you. And hi, everybody. It's good to see you. It's good to be with you this morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is where you are. What a treat. I know Deshawn mentioned that sometimes we get to sit with folks we've just sat on retreat with. And I was just at Big Bear last week with my cohort colleagues from Inside Community of the Desert, and some of you were sitting there, and it's good to see you again, and it's good to see some other friendly faces and to meet some new folk. So I'm happy to be here. What I want to do today is just sit for a couple of minutes and ground. Usually I'll do the long meditation and then a talk, but I want to just sit for a couple of minutes to ground ourselves, and then I'll give the talk, and then we can sit, and it'll kind of what I talk about will kind of hopefully you can bring in to your sit, to our practice. So let's just ground for a moment. I find it's always helpful when we come into a space like this to have this arrival, this awareness of being where we are. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "You are a home, you have arrived." And wherever we are, we can't be any other place. So to really connect, starting to come into our bodies, feeling the support of our seat, whatever that seat may be, a bed, a chair, the floor, whether we're sitting or laying down. Maybe just taking a couple of breaths. Breathing in and releasing, letting the body relax, letting the mind relax, releasing expectations or shoulds or have-tos, and allowing yourself to settle. as was mentioned, I co-taught a retreat at Big Bear Retreat Center last week, and a couple of lines have stuck with me from um, a talk, a couple of lines from uh, what I like to lines I like to use, and one of them is a quote from Gil Fronsdal, who's a wonderful teacher based out of Redwood City in Northern California, Insight Meditation Center and Insight Retreat Center up in Northern California. And he said that we neither cling to nor resist anything. And so I want to investigate that today, what that means. How is that even possible? Not to cling to or resist anything. And the other phrase that I really love, some of you who've sat with me or know me, you hear this from me all the time, and it's from Ajahn Sumedho, who's a monk in the Theravadan Thai forest tradition, and it's the saying, "Right now it's like this. Right now it's like this." And I think the two of those go together because right now it's like this brings us into this moment, and it reminds us to check, are we hanging on to anything, or are we pushing something away? Are we clinging or resisting? And if we are, can we just recognize that right now we are here, right now it's like this? Basically, that's a teaching of equanimity. How can we be present where we are with the way it is in this moment without intensifying any suffering or any dukkha that we have to the present moment? This moment may be uncomfortable. This moment may be pleasant. Lord knows it's a chaotic world right now. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of discomfort. There's a lot of fear. There's all the things. And what I have found is this practice offers a way to be present with those things without making it worse. And so, how do we do that? And sometimes the invitation is to just let go. Come on, just let go. Like it's so easy. It sounds easy, but it's not, because we are creatures of habit. We have minds that have, I think Thich Nhat Hanh has used the phrase, have these habit energies that just come up, and we get into these places of wanting or not wanting, or shoulds or have tos, or this or that. We're conditioned beings. We grew up in a family, or we grew up in a situation, we learn things, this is good, this is bad, don't do this, do this. We went to school, we have peers that we also learned lessons from. Sometimes they're very contradictory to what we learned in our families or learned in growing up. And then we go out into the world and there's more messaging. So we're receiving messaging all the time. There's familial messaging, there's societal messaging, and we've developed ways to be in the world to take care of ourselves, make sure we're all right. And so these habits of mind, these habits of reacting, of thinking, are kind of baked in, often subconscious, and we don't realize them. And so it's really worth investigating what we cling to. Often we cling to this sense of self. I love the phrase in Pali, it's Sakaya Ditti. It's such a great word. This idea of who we should be, how people should see us. I had a doctor's checkup this morning, and I went in and they did my blood pressure, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's good. And I was laughing because I'm like, oh, I want to have good blood pressure so they don't yell at me. And then I laughed because I knew I was gonna. I'm like, the silliest little things we get stuck on. It's like I'm a better person if I have good blood pressure. I'm a bad person if I have high blood pressure or whatever. It's just these little silly things that get into us, into our minds. We have all these shoulds or shouldn'ts, and it's growing up. Like I said, that conditioning we have, this deep, deep conditioning, and um, those are the things we cling to. These ideas of it's supposed to be, it's not supposed to be, I'm supposed to be. I know I grew up I was terrified of people not liking me. I just had this desperate need, and I became a people pleaser and a perfectionist, because if I'm perfect, you can't hurt me. I'll be bulletproof if I'm perfect. And so to be imperfect in any way was just devastating. Anybody else kind of replay mistakes you've made? Yeah. Uh-huh. Because it's like we think we should. And I always say don't shit all over yourself. But it's like and without examining that, we're going to continue to have this discomfort, this dukkha. Um, Other things we resist, fear, emotions. We're taught you're not supposed to feel anger. I'm just using that as an example. Many of us are taught you're not supposed to fear, you're not supposed to be angry. If you did this, you would be a better person. Jealousy, bad. Not have, you can't have that. But these emotions just kind of arise based on the situation at the moment. We can't help the emotions, but somehow we think we're supposed to control them. And we're afraid of the unknown. We resist the unknown. I need to know what's going to happen. Security, safety. And it's not that we come by this naturally. The brain, we've got the reptilian brain still part of our makeup. That's like constantly on the lookout for danger. It has this negativity bias because it's looking for what might cause harm. But we don't have to, sometimes it goes to too great of an extent that's not necessary. We don't have to have that for everything. And so to begin to recognize and kind of draw back from that, begin to see. And then there's a teaching in Buddhism, the five remembrances, about how we are all of the nature to grow old, get sick, and die, and all we have are our everything we have will be taken from us. All we have are our actions. And we live in a culture that tells us, no, 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 you really shouldn't be getting old. And if you were better at this, or if you bought this product, then you wouldn't get old. So to deny reality is bananas. But we do it so subconsciously too. It's not, like I said, we don't sit down and write these things out. Maybe we do. I did that as a freshman in high school, how to make people like me. I actually came home from school and wrote a list of how do I get people to like me? Because I went to a school in a neighborhood I didn't know hardly anyone. And I felt so insecure all the time. I was always on the outside looking in my mind. That was like, this is my little manifesto for people pleasing. Sometimes we do it, sometimes it's subconscious. A lot of other things we bring up are subconscious. So this is I don't know where I don't have the reference for this, but this is really important. This is a teaching. And this is to be understood. It's the first noble truth, dukkha, the suffering of not getting what we want, the suffering of things not being the way we want them, of separation from what we like, the suffering of have to do that which we don't want to do, of having to be restrained when we want to be unrestrained. Dukkha, this suffering, is the inability to be present with the way it is. It's I can't be with the way it is right now, and I need to do something about it. And not just huge things. Sometimes huge things are a little bit easier because we know they're a big deal, like with a death or the loss of a job or something. We go, okay, this is a big deal. I need to pay attention. But it can be the mundane things, like getting cut off in traffic, or having a curtain rod break while you're putting away clothes. Really simple things. So simple things that we suffer over. Like, will my blood pressure be okay today? Who cares? You know? And who will we be if we fully let go? Because we've developed this way of being in the world. Again, that self-view, that Sakaya Ditti. How do we show up in the world? And when we start walking down this path, when we're invited to let go of things that don't serve us, in the teaching of the Eightfold Path, the second factor the wisdom piece is intention, wise intention, and part of wise intention is renunciation. And renunciation is about letting go of what does not serve us, letting go of what causes suffering, what causes dukkha, our inability to be with things as the way they are. How do we let go of that? And when we start walking down the path, it feels like the rug is pulled out from under us. Who are we? Who am I if I'm not perfect? You know, who am I if I let things be messy? I've told this story a billion times, but I am an archaeologist also, and when I was giving up going overseas to Syria, we were excavating in Syria. I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, and I was like, who will I be if I don't do this? Because everybody tells me being an archaeologist is cool, and I've never been cool in my life. So how can I give up the one cool thing? And it was just a struggle, and so that whole thing we start working with. I did walk away. I'm still doing it, but in a different way. But how do we walk away from that? This struggle. Who will I be if? How will this turn out? The other thing we have to recognize is we can't make up the future. We set goals, we set intentions, we walk in a particular direction, but we begin to let go of the outcomes. We begin to let go of our expectations. It has to be this way in order for me to be happy. The invitation of this practice is, how can I be at ease even in this moment when maybe it's not so pleasant? How can I be present with this? I'm reading the Book of Joy, which is conversation between the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu from South Africa. And both of those men had suffered greatly in their lives. Really, I mean, exiled, imprisoned, the whole gamut. But they talked about when you have the capacity to be present, what happens is there's this sense of connection with others because we recognize that we all share the human condition. Because when we're fighting it, when we want things to be a certain way, when we don't want to experience this, we're denying that we are human, that we experience the human condition, and that everything is pretty messy. Things are messy. There's birth, there's death, there's loss, there's suffering, there's sickness, there's old age, there's death. All we have are our actions. So how do we move forward with this? Right now it's like this. That is a practice of equanimity. That's a practice of coming back to here. What's happening right now? Oh, I'm craving something. Oh, I'm like worried about something. And instead of fighting reality, we say hi. There's a willingness to simply be. Sati, which is the word that's generally translated as mindfulness, also means to be with. Mindfulness invites us to be with the moment as it is. So we practice being present with what is. Sometimes when we're sitting in a formal meditation practice and the instruction is don't move, if you have an itch, don't scratch it. And it's not because people are mean, it's but because we have to practice being with. And of course, if it's crazy and really distracting, scratch. But it's beginning to let go of that autopilot reactivity because we react automatically. Those habit energies just drive us in a certain direction. So we need to pause. This is a practice of pausing. It's a practice of being with, a willingness to be, a willingness to see. Oh, I'm stuck in this craving. What's going on right now? There's this recognition of how these teachings show up in our lives. I want it to be different. And so when we recognize that, then there's a willingness to feel, oh, what's underneath that craving for something? oh, maybe there's, when we pause and we quiet and we open up and bring curiosity. What is this? Oh, underneath. What's underneath? Years ago, I went on a retreat, and right before I had gone on the retreat, I was leaving one job to go to another, and I had all the thoughts in the head. Am I making a mistake? Should I do this? Should I not do this? All the things back and forth. And my head was just blah, 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 blah. It was so hard to stop. And the teacher's like, just pause, just come back. What's right now? What's right now? And I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future. Why did I do the past? Blah, 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 all the things. But I was willing to just keep coming back, let go of those thoughts, let go of those thoughts, even if just for a moment, come back, come back, come back. Finally, there was enough stillness. There was enough silencing or quieting of those thoughts, or they even fell to the background. They could have still been there, but I wasn't engaging with them. And what came up was this fear of inadequacy. This old story, maybe I can't do this new job. None of the arguments that were going through my head had anything to do with what was really underneath. So when we make the time, when we pause and are willing to simply be, what's right here? What's right now? Beginner's mind. You let go of our preconceived ideas. Let go of those stories that we've been carrying around for who knows how long. What's happening right now, and can I be with it? And that's how we move towards equanimity. One of my favorite definitions of equanimity is a deep intimacy with our own experience without preference. We're willing to be intimate with our experience. And speaking of the undefended heart, for me, that's also a journey of equanimity. It's a willingness to open up to what's happening right now. It's not idiot compassion, as Pema Chodron would say. It doesn't mean we're just like, la, 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 whatever. We have boundaries. We have wisdom. There's a wisdom that also arises when we're cultivating this equanimity, when we're willing to be present. There's a wisdom to beginning to see clearly what's going on, the conditioning, and a willingness to let go. But there's also a compassion and a kindness that arises. They call it the two wings of awakening. So we have this wise heart, as Jack Kornfield said, he named one of his books A Wise Heart. So there's a heart that's open that we take care of because there's a clarity, and we see what's wise and what's skillful and what's helpful and what may be not wise or not skillful. And so this undefended heart is a willingness to be fully human. It's a willingness to be vulnerable and open to the reality that's here. The Bodhisattva of compassion, Kuan Yin, they say she hears the cries of the world. To be open to that. Because when we shut ourselves off from discomfort, we're also shutting ourselves off from joy. You can't just shut out one thing. You shut out everything. And we're so isolated. And this is also what the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu were talking about, saying, when we suffer, we recognize that we're just part of the human community. Everybody experiences this. We're no different. And so it's a lifelong adventure peeling away all these layers. I have parts of my heart now that are much more undefended than they used to be, but there's still pieces. There's still pieces. My new tattoo says, I'm not dead, so I'm not done. I'm not going... Why not, right? What else am I going to do? It's been working so far. I'm just going to keep going with it. I'm going to keep going with it. It's a lifelong adventure. And mindfulness is really important in this practice, because that's where we begin to take the time to pause and really investigate, bring some curiosity. What's going on? What's going on? And maybe not necessarily even um, formal practice. Formal practice is important because we begin to create the conditions to see. But continuity of mindfulness as we go through our day. If we find ourselves, with your shoulders up around your ears or your teeth, your mouth clenched, pay attention because we learn what those things feel like on the cushion. And then we recognize them when we're walking through the world. Oh, my belly's tied up in a pretzel, and there's this heaviness in my chest. What does that feel like? Oh, that's some anger. And we allow the emotions to arise. Right now it's like this, without letting them take over. Not I am angry, but wow, there's a lot of anger here. How do I make space for it? There's a saying, invite the demons in for tea. Come on in, have a seat. I'm not going to let you run the show, but I'm going to ask you what you need. How can I be present with you? You're here. I'm not going to fight you. But we're going to have a different relationship, which is what this is. We're developing a different relationship with the world, one that's not full of dukkha, one that doesn't intensify the discomfort that we may feel, but one that also experiences joy. That's one of the factors of awakening. There's mindfulness and effort and curiosity, investigation, and ease, tranquility, joy, steadiness of mind, and equanimity. So we have to be present in order to experience the joy, the steadiness that this practice offers. So I want to sit now, and I want to invite you as we move into these next few moments of our practice of really resting in awareness, of opening to the different sensations that may be arising. Maybe, you have some things that you have to do this afternoon or this next week, or there's a lot of heaviness on your mind, although maybe the news is stirring through your head. And I want you to and I'll offer instructions, we'll have some guidance as we sit, but what's the reactivity? Without judgment, without criticism, we don't judge our reactivity. We can't help how we got here, but our invitation is to recognize it and to tend to it. So take a couple of breaths, maybe take a sip of tea or whatever, and settle in, allowing yourself to relax. Letting the body again land, arrive, stretching maybe if that'll be helpful. Really taking care of yourself in this moment as we move into our practice. And as you begin to settle in, begin to open to the sense doors. The sense doors are what or through which we experience the world, the sounds and the smells, the physical sensations, opening up to what might be here right now, the sensations of the body. But we also, in this teaching, in Buddhist teaching, thought is one of the senses. Such a powerful sensation, the thinking mind. And begin to notice what thoughts or emotions may be present. Just allowing them to be without judging them. Staying grounded, staying present, staying open. This practice is not about shutting down our experiences, turning off our minds. It's about coming into a different relationship with what's already here. Right now it's like this. And what is this? What's present for you in this moment? Doesn't have to be anything different from the way it is. Sometimes we come to practice thinking it should be a particular way, we should have particular thoughts or feelings, which is a craving. If you can let that go and just open to the moment, allowing yourself to be with what's here. Really allowing yourself to relax, the body relaxes, the mind relaxes, and you open. You open in this gentle awareness. Sometimes noticing whether something is pleasant or unpleasant can be helpful. If something's unpleasant, we may have a tendency to push it away, make it disappear, fix it. If something's pleasant, we may tend to try to prolong it or cling to it. Noticing those reactions and instead letting things be. Right now it's like this. There's nothing to fix. It's not supposed to be different from the way it is. Allow yourself to simply be. Allow yourself to rest in being. Right now it's like this. There's no judgment in this practice. There's simply an opening to the moment. You can't do it wrong. You're simply present, willing, making the effort to stay, returning if you drift. And as we come into the last few moments of our sit, I invite you, if you like, to move into a simple gratitude practice, thinking of something you're grateful for and resting for a few moments in that gratitude. Thank you, everyone. And now, if there are any questions or comments about anything I said, or if you notice where you get stuck or how you crave or cling to things. Thanks, Kyle. Or rebuttals. I'm always open to rebuttals. You can raise your hand or you can just jump in.
I'll ask a question. So the easiest way to let go is just to be present and be mindful and concentrate on your breath. Is that how you let go?
Well, I think you have, thank you, Susan, for the question. You have to be present. Mindfulness is like the first step, because if you're not paying attention, you really don't know what's going on. And so to pay attention, you notice where you're stuck. Yeah, and sometimes you recognize, sometimes you might be in a thought, like I used to be full of self-pity, and I thought that was self-compassion, but it's not. It's just, poor me, poor me, poor me. And then after a while, I recognize, oh, there's that self pity again. It's not just, we don't just get it and we've got it. It's a process. It's a intellectual understanding of what we're talking about, and then an experiential. And then there comes a point where you can make the choice. You know what? This doesn't serve anymore, and we're willing to release it. That it's the journey, that this process, the journey of wisdom, the journey of releasing. But sometimes we go, you know what? I'm holding on to this one. I used to have, occasionally I still do have conversations with people who are not in the room, because I need them to understand what I'm thinking, or I have to make a point, or I have to change the argument we had the day before so that I win. Um, and sometimes I'm like, oh, you're having a conversation with someone's not there. This is all made up. This is all a fabrication. It's not reality. But sometimes I go, no, I need to do this. It fills something inside, whatever it is. But at some point, we have to be willing to let go, because that's a lot of dukkha. That's a lot of angst or anger or energy that I'm expanding for what reason? And and it's like, okay, that happened. How can I tend to any experience that's internal? Maybe I feel bad because of what happened. Maybe I saw a comment go by quickly about shame. Yeah, we have to be gentle with ourselves. Things take a long time sometimes. Watching the tendency to want what I call a microwave miracle. I've been sitting for a month. How many retreats do I have to go on to get over this? That's craving. How can we instead simply be here? What's right here, right now? How can I be with this moment? What's the best next step? What's the most skillful, wise action to take right now? Because in those 5 remembrances, the last one is all we have are our actions. Hopefully they're grounded in the Eightfold Path, which is a way to move towards liberation and freedom, and a way to be in harmony with everyone else. What's the wisest, kindest thing to do right now? Hopefully that's an underpinning. So developing a sense of your core values is really important too, because that helps guide us as we move through the world. And it's like, and wise speech. Wise speech being not being harsh, saying what needs to be said. We have to practice that internally too. Are we being truthful, but are we being kind? Really important. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Anything else? I'm going to check the chat real quick because I may have seen something. How do I let go of the shame of not being good enough? Do I just accept the feeling? Um, the feeling is there, so fighting our feelings doesn't do anything but intensify them or mask them in some way. If the feeling is there, can you hold it? Can you put your hand on your heart? Can you put your hand on your belly? Can you say, I see you, shame? Can you bring some kindness and compassion to it? Shame, guilt, fear. We don't judge our feelings. We can't help what shows up. Thich Nhat Hanh talks about seeds of consciousness, where all our experiences kind of plant seeds, and when the conditions are right, they blossom. Like someone was telling me something they were going to get to do, and I was very happy for them, but I noticed jealousy. Well, you're not supposed to be jealous. You're better than this. You've been practicing a long time, blah, blah, blah. Instead of going, oh, jealousy, jealousy, jealousy. Hi, jealousy, have a seat. And it does take a long time. Like I said, I'm not dead, so I'm not done. So be gentle with yourselves. If you recognize I saw something about insecurities, it's like, be gentle with those. Be gentle as best you can. And also, mindfulness is not a panacea. Some of us have a lot of stuff. We've been through a lot of trauma, and sometimes we need different kinds of support, like therapeutic support. So really, I'm not saying that if you just do this, you'll experience that. It's a great help. It's been a great help for me, but sometimes we have to get some other support. I had to get some therapy too for a lot of the baggage I was carrying. Around my growing up and my shame and my grief that had been just, I tried to bury with every fiber of my being, but it just keeps trying to make its way out. So what I think the first step is, just let go of the judgment. Just let go of the judgment. You can't help what's here. So don't judge it, and then see what's the next thing to do that makes sense to take care of that. Yeah. I think we maybe have time for one more, if there's anything else. No? Susan, please.
Yeah, this is just a quick one. I was thinking about the, grow old, die, all that, and all we have is our actions. But what if, we came to all this pretty late and we're sort of feeling guilty or remorse about actions in the past? That, those were our actions, and all we have is our actions. So what do we do about the actions that we're not so happy with in the
Mm-hmm.
past?
Yeah. Um, Thank you. The actions are the ones in that reference, the five remembrances. It's our actions moving forward. Just to be clear on that. But the actions we've done in the past, I've hurt a lot of people, and most of the time I hurt people, it's because I was trying to take care of myself in some way. I didn't know I was doing that, but I caused a lot of harm because I was running on my habits of trying to take care of myself in some way, shape, or form. And there's some forgiveness practice that we can do also, that there's no time to go into now, but recognizing, yeah, I caused harm. And do I want to carry how do I tend to the shame that's here, or tend to the guilt that's here? So those are investigations too that we can do, because replaying the stories don't serve anything. So if you find yourself in that place where you're like thinking about what you did again and again and again, see if you can let go of the story and just be with the feeling that's there, and bring some compassion to the feeling, because it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. So I
Thank
think
you.
my time, you're welcome, Susan. Thank you. I think my time is up, and I want to say again, thank you so much for your kind attention. And Deshawn, back to you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary, for um, a beautiful sit. I got a lot out of that, and I'm sure from the comments in the chat and the emoticons that are showing up that folks who have gotten a lot as well. Um, just wanting to quickly remind everyone that Lunchtime Mindfulness is a freely offered space from BBRC. And while we do try to we take care of our teachers by offering them a stipend for being here with us and leading us in practice, if this sit, if the sharing that Mary has offered has impacted you in any way that is beneficial, we definitely recommend that you share Donna, that you share your generosity to Mary, and that can show up in many ways. But one way specifically is through monetary donation. And so in the chat, I'm going to place a link to Mary's website where you can find links to support monetarily. And also just in general, if you want to learn more about Mary and what she's up to, new retreats that are showing up, marystancavage.org is where you want to go. And again, we just want to say thank you, Mary, for your time. Thank you for being here with us and for leading such a beautiful practice. And again, we're here every Wednesday at 12 noon. So thank you all for being present and for taking time to pause for yourself. And at this point, I am complete. And I'm going to stop the live stream and ask for everyone if you would like to come